In our new 1-hour release, hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis, floods, storms, all sorts of various incredible moments, cases that will exactly drive you crazy. With you is the channel ETERNITYLAB, the laboratory of eternally relevant content. Frankfurt in Germany is the 5th most populous city and one of the world's largest business centers. Naturally, a rapid flow of money runs through Frankfurt. However, in August 2023, there was simply a lot of water there. Heavy downpours in the southern part of Germany led to the flooding of hundreds of basements and streets, but apart from the ground floors, muddy water also flooded subway stations, and things became completely terrifying at the Frankfurt International Airport. Dozens of flights were canceled after the runway was flooded, and many passengers were left stranded. This is not the first time a flood has penetrated the subway system. Here we see subway train cars turned into aquariums in July 2021. In this case, the cost of the damage amounted to 1.5 billion euros. Mandi is a small Indian city in the state of Himachal Pradesh, located about 140 kilometers north of the state capital, where over 26,000 people live. It is an effectively developing city, but nevertheless, it retains much of its historical appearance. Unfortunately, part of this charm was severely damaged in July 2023 when a furious flood hit the region. India is famous for downpours. Here they are some of the strongest in the world, and water rapidly overflows riverbanks. Since many cities in this province are built near hills and mountain slopes, they suffer greatly due to such landslides. Because of the downpours, an entire lake formed at the top of the hill, and city authorities warned everyone that a landslide was inevitable. Therefore, people took shelter on higher ground. Simply put, they climbed to the upper floors of houses and watched as a stream of mud and debris destroyed their ground-level shop. Naturally, a lot of goods were ruined. This July day became the rainiest in the last 40 years. 15 centimeters of precipitation fell on the city, and Mandi was not the only one among the most affected cities. The summer of 2023 was like no other when it came to floods in China. Monsoons, typhoons, and downpours battered the country. On July 29th, due to super typhoon Bozkurt, a record amount of precipitation fell in 16 provinces, and a red, highest level of danger was declared.
The cars parked on the street were floating and got washed away. A couple of vehicles parked behind my apartment disappeared in minutes.
In Beijing, the heaviest rains in the last 140 years were recorded. Have you ever seen rain that does not stop for days? It is amazing to watch cars float down the river like children's toys, rubber ducks in a bathtub. In some footage, it is hard to tell where the river ends and the road begins. Over 1.8 billion cubic meters of water buried the city's infrastructure. The flood affected at least 1.5 million people, with agricultural land suffering the most. Economic losses exceeded $13.2 billion and made Typhoon Bozkurt one of the most costly natural disasters in China's history. Officials stated that it will now take at least 2 years to rebuild. You do not even know where to start such a cleanup. On August 7, 2023, residents of southern and eastern Norway received a frightening notification. The Norwegian Meteorological Institute issued a red danger warning due to the approaching storm Hans. Extremely heavy rains became record-breaking for the past 25 years. Due to the elements, entire towns had to be evacuated. Unrelenting rain poured for days, and at the height of the storm, a dam burst on the Glomma River. As a result, a wave of water caused landslides and a catastrophic flood that washed away several houses. The disaster occurred in early August, but already in July, the monthly precipitation was 300% above the historical averages. During the first 10 days, Storm Hans wreaked havoc across Europe. It flooded several cities, blew roofs off houses, and caused massive destruction. Ironically, these events happened after a series of devastating forest fires across northern Europe. Where was all this water at the beginning of summer when it was so desperately needed? Genoa is an ancient port and the capital of the Liguria region. It is the 6th largest city in Italy, stretching along the Italian Riviera. Its commercial importance to the Mediterranean cannot be overstated. It is the busiest port in Italy, and therefore the rampage of the water element turns out to be extremely unfavorable for it. Storms and flash floods cause enormous damage to the economy of Europe as a whole. Genoa was hit particularly hard during a series of floods in 2011, when tropical storms battered the Mediterranean Sea. These frames were filmed on November 4th on the streets of the city. We can only be horrified at how powerful a deluge can be and rejoice that we were somewhere else. Genoa was not alone in this battle. Over 50 centimeters of precipitation fell across the lagoon all the way to Tuscany, and this water quickly overwhelmed rivers and canals, leading to the flooding of cities. When the water finally receded, the streets of Genoa were left littered with mangled and overturned cars. A bridge over the Pellice stream collapsed, and several people in the port ended up trapped under the rubble. Everything around was filled with mud and debris, and this footage circled the globe, showing what a city turns into in a matter of minutes.
This rescue worker says they're doing their best to check drains, etc., so the land can absorb as much water as possible.
In mid-August 2021, Turkey experienced a sudden flash flood. The small town of Bozkurt, with a population of about 5,000 people, was built around the banks of a river just a few kilometers from the Black Sea coast. This flood became a powerful chord in a series of disasters that struck the world that summer. Heat waves raged in Italy and Russia, floods rampaged in Belgium and Germany, not to mention the pandemic that continued to ruin everyone's plans. Turkish weather stations recorded that about 40 centimeters of precipitation fell in 48 hours. In addition, the city is located downstream, making it an easy target for mud flows that rush down from the mountains at a frantic speed. The riverbank channel was able to hold back the onslaught for a while, but the force of nature proved indomitable. All this dirty water quickly burst its banks, and the river level rose by almost 4 meters. Cars were dragged along the road, houses on the first floors were flooded, and the entire city was destroyed beyond description. 300 surrounding villages were left without electricity, and a thick layer of mud covered a vast territory. Little Falls is a town in northern New Jersey. Just over 13,000 people live here, and it is named after a tiny waterfall on the Passaic River. Locals love to stroll along the waterfront, which they had to fear for in August 2018. Heavy rain hit New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania and did not stop for several days and nights. Roads were flooded, and many drivers got stuck in their cars in the neighboring town of Caldwell. And in this footage from the owners of a car dealership, we see their money floating away from them along with new cars. The river plays with them like toy cars. Locals standing on the overpasses of Highway number 46 could not believe their eyes. By the end of the show, 16 excellent cars had been washed away from the dealership and piled up in a dam under the bridge. A Chrysler Jeep Dodge flipped over and went underwater, but it was too late to try to save anything.
Look at that! Holy shit! It flipped over! It went under! All the cars from the car lot are coming over!
Finally, the storm subsided and tow trucks safely removed the cars, which they even managed to start, but the town was covered in mud and water, and the hearts of the auto dealers were filled with pain. The governor declared a state of emergency in 5 counties as a month's worth of precipitation fell there. Moab is a small city in the United States near the border with Colorado. It is a popular mountain area for motorcycle enthusiasts who like to race along a network of difficult trails near the Rock Trail. On July 28, 2021, a severe thunderstorm occurred here. Rain flooded the creeks flowing out of the Colorado River, and water gushed through nearby reservoirs. Traffic on highway number 191 was blocked, and a local resident had no choice but to settle down near the dried-up riverbed and film this plot for us. you are looking at used to be Dry Creek, flowing from the Colorado River, but the Moab storm brought it back to life surprisingly quickly. The July flood was one of those that happens once in 100 years. Humidity was measured at 100%. The probability of such an event repeating is only 1%, but ironically, another 100-year flood happened here about a year later. It is a good thing that the vastness of the state allows the river to overflow. It is not as dangerous as torrents on city streets. Wrightwood is a small town in California. It lies in the San Bernardino Valley at an altitude of about 3,000 meters above sea level in the San Gabriel Mountains, northeast of Los Angeles. Most locals in the summer mostly worry about forest fires, but in late August 2023, they had to worry about a different reason. Hurricane Hilary of the 4th category was recorded in 4 states as one of the wettest tropical cyclones in history. On August 20th, Hilary, meanwhile, made landfall on the Baja Peninsula in Mexico and headed for Wrightwood. A local resident with children watched its antics roll down the mountain in a dirty avalanche. A few days before the arrival of Hilary, the National Hurricane Center issued the first ever tropical storm warning in Southern California. It was assumed that in some areas more than the annual norm of precipitation could fall, forcing 26 million people in 3 states to endure a flood. Actually, hurricanes in California are extremely rare.
Overnight, millions of Americans under alert as Hilary slams the West.
The last time a tropical storm happened before Hilary was in September 1939. The currents and waters here are too cold, and the winds are not conducive to hurricanes. But as they say, accidents will happen. One of the most terrible natural disasters in the Indian Himalayas occurred on February 7, 2021, in the mountainous Chamoli district of the state of Uttarakhand. As a result of a brutal burst of a glacial lake from the mountain, a massive accumulation of rocks and ice burst from under the ground and merged 2 rivers. One of them is a tributary of the Ganges, and there are many populated areas along these rivers. A crushing torrent poured onto the settlements below, destroying everything in its path. The theory about the rapid melting of glacial lakes in the Himalayas was quickly refuted according to satellite images. It became obvious that a glacier the size of 15 football fields simply broke off the mountain and fell into the river systems a level below, wiped 5 bridges off the face of the earth, cut off access to 13 villages, and killed dozens of people. Under the wing of the airplane, a lightning discharge is crackling about something. Someone got a convenient seat for observation. You have probably already seen something like this in science fiction movies, right? But this is a real mind-blowing experience. When a new bridge is better than the old one, you can remove the obstacle. Sometimes nerves are stronger than building materials. Even in such matters, perfectionism is a proof of professionalism. Maybe he just likes working this way, first cutting the shavings and then taking out the even Toblerones?
Вообще похую.
And someone else, on the contrary, does not sweat it. Number 9. One little boy did not play enough with robots, toy cars, and airplanes. Through the clouds, onto the runway, a fabulous view in good weather. The figure in action is a tailspin. The wider it is, the slower, the narrower it is, the faster. Do you want to see what a Superman flight looks like face to face? It is a pity you cannot feel this wind, but it is there. The sensations of free flight cannot be compared with anything. Probably this is why this sport has so many fans. Not everyone prefers standard parking. Someone very prone to drifting likes to skid. A retro automobile is something more than just a body. If the motor is working, then the car can drive, despite a slight mess in the cabin. A jewelry workshop? Well, almost. This is an absolutely zero-waste car dismantling site where one car takes a few minutes. The literally gutted body is sent for remelting, and the parts go to their intended destination. Matches and sawdust are made very quickly, literally in one movement. The main thing is to have a fierce logging harvester. He said, "Let us go," and pressed launch. Successful tests of the rocket engine took place. However, if everything works properly on the ground, in the air it sometimes behaves differently. A tower on the left, a tower on the right, and between them is Spider-Man's truck.
For the city, right? And look at this. Big building up there. Big building down here. And what happened, Mr. Drifter? Lost it. Huh? What happened?
Before you is a chain of events. To drop the anchor, you first need to properly lay the chain, since acceleration can make the movement dangerous. Do not stand in its way. When the reverse signal beeps annoyingly, it becomes contagious. If you are very enthusiastic about pulling a hook out of a fish, then someone is not opposed to pulling something out of you. Maybe this guy understands fishing gear better and came out to help? A big crocodile was crossing the street. I have a feeling that no one wants to mess with such a pedestrian until he decides where to go after all. If there are fish factories, it means there must also be fish pipelines. If your boss does not start the morning in the office with such a warm-up, then you can love him just for that. It does not matter where we are going, the main thing is who is leading us. Boldly, comrades, keep in step. If the drum is on top, it does not mean that the concert is cancelled. The duo performs in any conditions. Large horned cargo is delivered to the farm in a special way. At the same time, it turns out to be an amusement ride.
This is fine.
When it is hot, a Charcot shower is the best procedure. Massage is included. Sign up for a session in advance. Only one cabin is working. When the flies are virtual, you can exhaust the little spider. I am not from this batch, I just rode with them in the box. You will not pass along this road without stopping. You have to treat the patrolman. It seems these guys are not driving through here for the first time and already know what suits his taste. Bear cubs are also children, and they want to ride along with everyone else. Only for some reason, the company scattered with screams. Listen, why do you need a rug in the forest? There is soft grass there. Let go, give it back, I say. This is what you can call a seal rookery, or when they say there is a dime a dozen of them. A seal needs neither flippers nor a surfboard. All options are built into him by default, even communication skills. Unpacking for the new season is complete self-service. What if, when taking off our old coat, we ate it? This is not a concrete mixer, nor a stream of mud. Just a large snake had a good dinner, and now it is hard to move, which is why everything takes so long. This is not beach volleyball, and not a kitty with whiskas, but a real meatball in acrobatics performed by a predator. An excursion is not a whale's tail in the distance, but a real face-to-face meeting. I would have dropped my phone out of surprise. Well, maybe the artist does not look very presentable, but this is real rock and roll, baby. The sea monster that is approaching the shore is actually a huge school of small fish. There are just so many of them that because of them, the water has turned into a dark mass. Sometimes trees grow on other trees, and they feel good. The Polynesian volcano Hunga Tonga put on an amazing show again. Its eruptions regularly changed the contours of the uninhabited island, and the huge wave from its activity rolled out so far that it was felt by several countries around the world. This is just a whirlpool, nothing to do with witchcraft and no black pearl nearby. And here, there is exactly both a black pearl and pirates of the 21st century. This canoe can easily continue the journey as a submarine as well. Water is falling. Just a waterfall. Just water. A lot of water. And this is a real well in California. It is better not to swim near this place. The force of attraction begins to suck into the hole everything that ended up even hundreds of meters away from here. Not just an obstacle course, but a test. This is how Japanese special agents pass their physical fitness standards. Simply put, this is a ninja exam, and it looks like this guy passed. And now, an escalator car wash. The main thing is to set the tone, and foam, gravity, and acceleration will do the work themselves. Another action of the laws of physics, the law of conservation of body energy. A body that correctly jumped out of a window returns right back into the window. It is not easy to climb mountain slopes, but you cannot really tumble around there. We are rehearsing in the pavilion. Now it is clear why alpinists train. Later they will face something like this. So what? Big deal. A tornado. You can walk around it. Have you ever seen how they lay rails, sleepers, precisely where jewelry-like technique is needed? For some reason, they work with their hands. This is not a caterpillar, but the coordinated work of an orchestra of rowers under the direction of an experienced conductor. Not even a kite, but a whole dragon was launched from this field. A grandiose creation. I wonder where it will fly. The cycle of Sambuca in nature revolves around the bartender. One precise movement and the wheel is launched. Well, they say there's no stability in the world. It is in the sea that there's no stability. But there is a regular storm, which for sailors is just part of the daily routine. This is how cargoes are delivered by water. A refreshing sea breeze and the light rocking are the constant companions of cargo ships. It is useful to know something about cyclones. They can cause terrifyingly sized shockwaves similar to tsunamis. We are now observing such footage filmed in India. Sometimes waves soar so high that they create the illusion of clouds. Do you think they decided to wash these off-road vehicles in such an original way? Or otherwise, how did they end up in abundant foam, any versions? Who knows what joke the ocean will pull? Today it served a portion of some dirty and sticky snow. Probably they had a seasonal spring cleaning inside there. You can watch this show endlessly. The edge of the wave looks as if it is illuminated by fluorescent ribbons. This is the merit of plankton, which acquires neon reflections in the dark. Beautiful, is it not? An interesting effect when water and water are two big differences, and they are in no hurry to mix, resembling Czech cut beer. Water is a persistent and insidious element. It only pretends to be soft. Look at how playfully it rolls metal into a coil. And these little houses decided to move to a new place, only for some reason they set off on their journey at night. It is simply amazing how slow drivers are. Did they all agree not to look in their mirrors? He drove and drove but did not make it in time. The bridge was blown away right from under his feet. It is a good thing there is another crossing nearby. Whoever builds a small house over a river acts wisely. When the time comes to demolish it, the river will do it for you, quickly, accurately, and absolutely for free. You can also make a movie. This is how easily a whole bus got sucked into a quagmire of mud. It is a good thing that it was empty. For comparison, this is a waterfall in Indonesia, and this, guys, is a mudfall in Indonesia. A real wonderland is now before us in all its glory. This is what the fall of a king looks like, the epic plunge of an iceberg into the abyss. We got the soundtrack, and the eyewitnesses got the real crackle of a huge ice flow. And they drifted apart like glaciers in the sea. Tourists in Greenland are sometimes shown an iceberg show. An ice block decided to split right before their eyes. Now we know how multi-ton ice crackles when parting. When a glacier splits, it can act weirdly. A huge water float creates either a surf wave or a whirlpool. It is better to shout with delight and retreat in time than to scream in fear when the boat capsizes. Nepal is a mountainous country, and avalanches here are part of the living conditions. But tourists need to know the code. Seeing an avalanche start and running is correct. Seeing it and staying to film is incorrect. Seeing an avalanche, praying, and filming is incorrect. Running fast and praying is the most correct answer. Nature has no half measures. All portions are size extra large. We are observing how beautifully and majestically the glacier descends into the lake. When spring comes, birds sing, flowers bloom, streams run, and mountain peaks throw down tons of melted snow and mud. Just as you arrived in the Himalayas, set up camp, lit a fire, and took out a guitar, boom, an ominous avalanche is already crawling towards you. Yes, yes, guys, run for your lives. In a few minutes, it will already be putting out your fire. When the water is colder than the air, such whitecaps can form on the ice crust. A rare phenomenon, but very cute. When the river current forms a centrifugal movement, in cold weather, the ice freezes in a perfect circle and shows us the disk of the moon on the surface of the river. These gingerbread houses are not decorations for Christmas, but the antics of an ice storm in Canada. When you live next to Ontario, you can find yourself in an ice trap. Icicles happen to be under roofs, on rocks, and under the ice crust of a lake in Antarctica. Surprisingly, if they do not melt, it means the water is also icy. Then the question is, why is the diver swimming there? And now we are not driving, but on the contrary, the snowstorm is coming at us. This is a deceptive optical effect. The wind and snowfall are so strong in the face. An amazing phenomenon of nature is the fountain that a geyser releases. Iceland is a fantastic country that will amaze you with its views. We do not know how long our cameraman waited, but he achieved the result. The geyser is alive. The eruption of a mud volcano is accompanied by flashes of gas bursting to the surface. It somewhat resembles a large gas stove. Probably, if Baba Yaga opened a fast food enterprise, she would cook her prey in a kitchen like this. A mud volcano is quite a cesspool. In Indonesia, a volcano wakes up and begins to blow its pipe. A pillar of black smoke pours out for hours and rises to a height of up to 10,000 meters. An Indonesian volcano named Mountain of Fire is trying to justify its name, but for now, it looks like a giant smoking ashtray. There are also lava alleys in the world. For example, an active volcano in Ethiopia shows us its wealth. The incredible power and beauty of a red-hot lava river is moving towards us. And would you dare to stand close? And when a volcano eruption in Hawaii ends and the lava cools down, new attractions are ready for tourists. Please come here, admire the fresh molding. This is not a computer effect, but real blue lava. The color turns out so bright because there is sulfur in the composition of the lava. Perhaps this is the most beautiful eruption in the world, which can be observed at the Kawah Ijen volcano in Indonesia. Probably the most mesmerizing and inexplicable sight on the planet is the northern or polar lights, when colored flashes of fantastic shades play in the sky. I would put on some music, set up a warm tent, and sit there all night. A very rare but mesmerizing sight, a rainbow that lives in a cloud. Such an effect occurs when a thunderstorm front is located very high, and the sun rays are refracted from behind the clouds. This happens when the thunderstorm has not ended yet, the sun has not set yet, but the rainbow has already come out. You cannot deny it, the sight is pleasing.
Oh my God, there's...
Whoever finds the end of the rainbow will catch luck by the tail. Just a trifle left to catch it.
I found... Mom, I found the end of the rainbow!
When something like this is approaching your city, it is fitting to think that evil witchcraft is real, and the very name of such nimbostratus clouds sounds like a spell. The ominous spinning of such a spiral sausage in the sky does not bode well. Appreciate the speed of this spinning top. When a cloud in the form of a huge eel floats across the sky, there is clearly a lot of electricity in it. These frames were filmed in Australia. This is what an approaching thunderstorm front looks like. A drone filmed how an avalanche of clouds envelops the peaks of picturesque hills, and it is amazing. A fistula formed in the cloud, from which a mini tornado is siphoning. The children are laughing because it seems to them that the cloud decided to play a joke. Sometimes nature shows all the tricks at once. Here you have a sunset, storm clouds, and a rainbow all in one sky. Choose which view to enjoy. One moon, two moons. Wait, is this a prank? The rain cloud was moving so fast that the cameraman did not have the opportunity to film the plot to the end. He managed to save his phone. According to a good scenario, the apocalypse should start something like this. But this time apparently it was just a rehearsal.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
And now we are observing what the exact fulfillment of the weather forecast of 50% rain looks like. If the trash cans decided to gather together, they probably have accumulated questions. It is pointless to try to stop them. They waited a long time for the right weather to establish a trade union. An ominous, rare, and mesmerizing scene, lightning inside a thundercloud. This is enchanting. And they also say that lightning does not strike the same place twice. It not only strikes, but also sticks to it. Can someone explain why tornadoes love to travel along roads so much? It feels like it is also more convenient for them to move along the highway. Goosebumps run down the skin just from the sight of this mushroom-shaped cloud alone, not to mention the trunk of a tornado crawling out of it. And now imagine what it was like for those who filmed it. It is amazing what makes people stop on the road and film such horrors instead of quickly skipping past the danger. After all, a race against a tornado cannot be won in a car. On this clear day in Colorado, there were no hurricane warnings. And here it is! Just look at what power! We just watch, we just admire. Monumental and powerful. A tornado is better watched on a screen than in person. Witchcraft in the field is not the work of a village fairy. It is a dry wind, a mini tornado twisting on dry patches of land. This is what chaos looks like. It is unclear what is happening around, and there are no chances to look at it from the outside. Rain is a blessing for nature until lightning strikes your favorite palm tree. Admire the strength of the wind. It feels like the tree is a newly planted flower that has not taken root well. I wonder what these guys who ran up wanted to do. Put it back in its place? If you do not close the window in time during hurricane winds, it can no longer be closed. When a rains gets under the tail, and a spark gets into the fuel, and a tornado also happens to be on hand, it looks scary. And what if it goes for a walk? A sandstorm is fast, scary, and very dense. Imagine that in a second you have nothing to breathe, nothing is visible, and there is hellish noise around. This cloud seems white, but inside it there is dust and sand. Do you hear it hissing? Number 9. The earth bends like plasticine. If the surface is shaking so much during an earthquake... Whoa, we are driving. A whole layer of land together with trees can move completely independently. This is called a landslide. India and a landslide are almost synonymous. This is how in a matter of seconds a soil slide buries a section of a highway under itself. It is a good thing that no one was hurt, but the detour will take another half a day. It is good to film a massive landslide while at a safe distance, but sooner or later clouds of dust and wind will reach you too. So first find yourself a path to retreat. Never say, "What, should I tear myself apart now?" This tree apparently repeated the proverb too often. And now before us are the consequences. The ocean also knows how to lay asphalt. The Earth is definitely alive. It breathes, grunts, and gurgles as if it sometimes has a runny nose and a little cough. The Earth sometimes looks like a green dishwashing sponge. It seems foam has accumulated inside there, and the little swamp squelches loudly. Nature has no meaningless creations. Since a little button is attached to this little stone, it means it is needed for something. This huge stone egg seems to be mocking us. It is unhappy that it was dug up and disturbed. Despite its evil intentions, the beginning of a storm can look like a picture worthy of the authorship of a famous artist. You cannot even imagine how much this picture will change in just 1 minute. A mesmerizing sight. A foggy monster stretches its tentacles to the ground. Such clouds are called shelf clouds and usually precede hurricanes. They form a thunderstorm collar. They approach at a frantic speed. If you look closely, you will see the outline of a terrible monster's muzzle in them. This is exactly what Hurricane Ida became in August 2021, the second in intensity and destruction after the infamous Katrina. The same Hurricane Ida blew away a Ferris wheel attraction in the city. Here the meaning of the name manifested itself. It continued to rotate and worked like a devil's thresher. The wind speed during the disaster reached a terrifying 240 kilometers per hour, and the weight of the wheel is about 200 tons. Fortunately, there were no passengers on it at that time. When they talk about bad weather, it implies not only rain and wind, but also hail. If the weather is very bad, hail the size of a tennis ball falls. On June 22, 2003, the largest hail was observed in Nebraska. Pieces of ice reached up to 17.8 centimeters in diameter, and there were also blocks measuring 47.6 centimeters. They most likely knocked all the foliage off the trees. Another dangerous companion of a storm is lightning. No one knows when and where it might strike. In fact, celestial electricity can strike anything. The roar of a tornado and the howling of sirens in the background make us feel the spirit of a disaster from a horror movie. The people from the town of Andover in the state of Kansas must have felt like horror movie characters when a massive tornado struck them in April 2022. It is not just about the power, but also the speed. With a sinking heart, you look at this footage and wonder if the tornado will bypass the houses or turn them into a pile of splinters right now. The climate in the United States is prone to frequent tornado attacks, but every time they practically catch people by surprise. It must be that people who live on powder kegs, near volcanoes or in tornado country, most likely have strong nerves and good insurance for cars and real estate, because in such moments it can easily become movable property. A squally wind blows away everything around, sparing neither roofs nor landscape design nor large trees. The only point is, where might you yourself end up at this moment, inside or outside? And what to do with the car if the storm caught you on the road? If you know how to behave, share with us in the comments. March 31st, 2023 could be called Tornado Day in the United States. Outbreaks swept across the entire country. Just think, 146 of them happened in one day. Wind gusts reached almost 270 kilometers per hour, which corresponds to the average speed of a racing car. But this is not a record. The largest number of tornadoes in a day happened before, in 1974 and 2011. I wonder what America looked like from a satellite back then. As we have already voiced, a tornado moves at a frantic speed, and although the sight of an approaching vortex makes us watch it numbly with astonished eyes, still the best decision would be to immediately hurry to a shelter. You must agree it is safer to watch the raging elements from a reliable shelter, and then work hard on restoring the household. The main thing is that no one was hurt. And here is an example of a wrong choice. On April 26, 2024, a tornado tore through the city of Lincoln in the state of Nebraska. It tore to pieces houses and a factory with an area of more than 10,000 square meters, and the wind speed reached 426 kilometers per hour. The hurricane broke trees and hurled cars into the sky. A truly terrifying scene, do you not think so? This plot can serve as an instruction on what not to do during a natural disaster. These people probably panicked or had no experience before. They thought that taking cover under an overpass would be more reliable than their own car. Just know for the future that by staying under bridges at such moments, you doom yourself to being in a wind tunnel. It is a miracle that no one was injured. Things are bad if during a storm you end up not only under a bridge, but also on a bridge. From there, as you know, you can neither turn off nor turn around. All that remains is to go with the flow and hope that the squally wind will not overturn the car. Finding yourself on the road during severe weather is a tough ordeal for a driver. The most terrible thing is that the automobile seems to protect against flying debris, but completely restricts visibility, so moving around turns into a pure lottery. The main thing is not to end up under trees that could collapse onto the car. As it turned out, staying in the car is also not entirely safe. This time, probably the airbags deployed. One of the most unpleasant moments in hurricanes is the squally wind, which can not only break trees but also uproot them with their roots. Yes, it is a shame to watch how this happens in your yard right before your eyes. It feels like the wind treated them like weeds. The owner's pain will also cost a pretty penny for restoration work.
Tree's gone. We lost 2 trees. Well, our front yard is gone.
I wonder, if you put the tree back in its place, will it start growing again?
Oh, damn, I love those trees.
And of course, the last place where you would want to be during a hurricane is in a car on a road where trees are falling. A falling tree can collapse on you at any moment, and if traffic is blocked by cars standing ahead, then there is no chance to maneuver. Here is another plot. On March 5th, 2018 in Portugal, wind gusts at a speed of 180 kilometers per hour did not just ruthlessly tear out trees, but hurled them across neighborhoods, causing devastating damage to everything that got in their way. It is a good thing that at least the lampposts stood their ground. If century-old trees fall, they cannot be put back up. All that remains is to saw them up and take them away, and in the cozy alley, unharmonious voids will gape. One joy, the direction of the wind dropped them towards the park and not onto the paths and parked cars. And now a selection from the mind-blowing series. Iron sheets fly apart like candy wrappers. We see a hurricane in the Netherlands. Not only residential houses, but larger structures such as schools, hospitals, and stadiums turned out to be unprepared for the wild wind. Although they look light in appearance, being nearby in an open space is extremely dangerous. A tin sheet flying sideways is, in essence, a shaving blade. Remember this and do not gape in bad weather. Seek shelter.
Ja, dat is het dak, ligt nu op de weg.
Dat is het dak.
Oh, kijk, daar gaat weer.
Oh, wat erg.
Oh, gelukkig gaat de wind die kant op.
Oh, niet normaal.
Kijk, ik ben ADO, joh.
It feels like the goal of the storm is a general cleaning of the territory. It seems to strive to level your property to the ground. All that the owner can do is helplessly watch as his property literally falls apart into pieces. Here are a couple of frames from Ohio, where during a storm on May 7th, 2024, several houses were destroyed. The largest and most destructive in history are tornadoes nicknamed wedge. This is what they are called in unofficial jargon in the storm spotter community, and it denotes a tornado that looks wider than the distance from the ground to the base of the surrounding clouds. They can cover 800 meters in width or even more. This is exactly the type of tornado we see in this plot. It hit the small town of Minden in the state of Iowa on April 27th, 2024. Just look at the scale. An eyewitness looks with horror at the flying large shreds and fears that the nearest neighborhood will also turn into them right now. Fortunately, it bypassed these farms. It ended up behind. Nevertheless, the natural disaster destroyed 180 homes.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, it's going behind it.
About 600 people were left homeless, not to mention the damage caused to businesses. Tornadoes in America are like a default option, and it is simply amazing how people coexist with the elements that regularly hit one area after another. Meteorologists can predict the storm in general, but not the moment when the elements will cover the city completely and movement will become impossible. Here is proof from Canada. The sky seems bright, but in a matter of seconds, the scenario radically changes into an apocalyptic movie. Watching this is simultaneously incredibly scary and fascinatingly interesting. I am only worried about that driver who did not have time to find shelter. We do not see the finale of the plot. Our eyewitness also reasonably took cover in the apartment. If the clouds look like colored cotton candy, things are bad. A dust storm is approaching you. Outwardly, this often looks like the beginning of the apocalypse. A massive dust storm in Arizona once left 10,000 people without electricity, which also led to flight delays. Have you seen anything like this in your life? Yes, of course, this is not a tornado. A dust storm will not lift us upside down, but when a frantic wind blows, visibility disappears, and the storm stretches for 80 kilometers, I would not know what to do either. Number 1. For a driver, the main thing is visibility on the road and the good condition of the car. When the road becomes slippery, it turns into a skating rink. And a truck into a cow on ice skates. Visibility during a blizzard drops to almost zero, and all you can do is rely on your driving skills. Well, and hope that other drivers will be careful too. Canadians are no strangers to situations where a blizzard, wind, and black ice play on the same team. Just imagine how a truck driver is literally fighting the elements. During a winter storm in Alberta, the Trans-Canada Highway became a real challenge for any driver. The road froze over, and the wind was so strong that it blew passenger cars off the highway, and they remained off the road for hours. It looks like a whole graveyard of automobiles has accumulated there in the ditch. It is unlikely that anyone could argue. This is truly scary. Okay, a truck. But I cannot imagine an anchored cruise liner being blown away by the wind like a plastic cup. On January 21st, 2020, the liner MS Nord arrived at a border port in Norway. The docking was supposed to go smoothly, but nature decreed otherwise. Imagine, if the wind itself parks a ship weighing tens of thousands of tons, what will happen to tiny boats? They will simply be swept away like pieces of paper from a table. Let us take a look at exactly what a water tornado does to boats. In the video, filmed in Ohio, wind gusts form a waterspout on the water. The wind that day reached a speed of 129 kilometers per hour. It easily scattered equipment on land and began to suck boats from the pier into the funnel. I think it took them time to put everything in order. This is not New Year's fireworks, but a tornado that decided to walk along a power line. Tornadoes can not only cause serious damage to property, but also deprive the entire city of light. In early January 2024 in Florida, a tornado unexpectedly hit a residential area in Fort Lauderdale. Eyewitnesses observed an eerie sight from the window of a high-rise building. The green flashes exactly mean electrical short circuits on its path, and the maximum wind speed that day reached 129 kilometers per hour. Breaking the wires seemed not enough to it, and it dashed to the pier, where it began to crush and overturn boats. The water instantly foamed. I think that being in a high-rise building at that moment was as safe as possible. Thank you for this video, guys.
I'm so happy it's going away.
Oh, just flip that boat over!
Oh my god.
Oh, it's gonna run right through this freaking main drag while it's coming. It flipped that. I think that boat righted itself. That boat was upside down.
Antarctica is considered the only place on Earth where there are no tornadoes, but instead, the icy continent is recognized as the windiest on the planet. Gusts can reach 322 kilometers per hour. This is a racing speed. Combine that with an average temperature of -40 degrees Celsius and ice needles that the wind hurls in your face, and here you have a picture of an Antarctic storm. The air turns into icy sandpaper. Members of the expedition have to show additional heroism. All that is left is to admire the people who have dedicated their lives to such work. And what if you get buried in snow up to your ears? Cyclones often sweep around Antarctica. It is no wonder that airplanes do not fly over the continent. Landing here is practically impossible due to strong squally winds. You will see it in the next video. This is not even the South Pole. The footage was taken at an airport in the Netherlands. Just imagine the force of the airstream that prevented a massive machine weighing several tons from making a landing. The airplane went for a second circle. In fact, the technique of an aborted landing is standard in aviation and is designated in professional language by the command toga. But I have never seen the wind hurl such a heavy colossus like a butterfly before, and while I was looking at this, my palms became wet with excitement. The Drake Passage is the widest and deepest strait on Earth. Its width in the narrowest part reaches 820 kilometers, and the depth is hopeless, up to 5,000 meters. It connects the southern parts of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans and is considered one of the most difficult shipping routes. It is also the stormiest place on the planet. Because of the icebergs, it is called the Marine Mount Everest. To the north of the strait is the Tierra del Fuego archipelago and the legendary Cape Horn, and on the opposite side lies Antarctica. Here are the craziest winds and the strongest ocean currents in the world, including the massive Antarctic circumpolar current. Historically, the strait gained sad fame, becoming a graveyard for a large number of ships that tried to pass it against the current from the time of Magellan to the opening of the Panama Canal. Safe shipping here is accessible only to cargo giants, tankers and container ships of the Panamax class, military cruisers and aircraft carriers, as well as submarines. Have you ever felt the roar of the wind over waves several meters high? And people have to endure all this nightmare for over 800 kilometers. Always check the weather forecast before heading out into the open sea. Some man-made accidents combined with natural forces are so insane that it is difficult to believe in the reality of what is happening. Just imagine, in the Polish port of the city of Gdansk, powerful winds moved a huge crane structure. The gusts literally pushed it down the rails to throw it into the water. A spectacular fall, right? There comes a moment when we realize how fragile our civilization is compared to the power of nature. Hail is a common phenomenon if it is not too large. Otherwise, rain turns into a natural disaster. It is funny that in ancient times, people believed that loud sounds could stop a storm. So when a downpour with hail approached, they fired from cannons. We do not know if this helped. This is why it is better not to take risks and stay home when the weather is really bad. A sudden gust of wind can change your plans and route. This video will truly allow you to feel the full power of Hurricane Ida.
We're getting close to the eye right now. We're starting to lose all the roofs. It's unbelievable.
Which struck the state of Louisiana in 2021. A brave eyewitness still finds the strength to comment on the footage when his own property is ready to go flying head over heels.
Tractor trailer right here. Oh!
Right now, houses are starting to lose their roofs. It is incredible how powerful the wind is. It overturns containers like cardboard. There is no way to truly prepare for such a squall. This wind only gets stronger. According to the measurements of meteorologists, the speed of the hurricane reached over 225 kilometers per hour. Just imagine what it is capable of carrying away. I hope that guy was sheltered under a reliable structure. Now it is clear where the rumors about rays from unidentified flying objects came from. It is enough to watch this lightning show. The energy of one lightning bolt is enough to boil a pond or split a whole tree into splinters in a second. This stunning fire rainbow is a rare type of refraction of sun rays when flat hexagonal ice crystals align horizontally in a cloud. Number 1.
Красота-то какая, лепота.
Who argues, is nature not the greatest artist? After a storm, nature sometimes rewards us with amazing gifts. It seems the rainbow can be touched with your hands. We see how a massive sandstorm is approaching the city of Aswan in Egypt. These epic storms can transport millions of tons of sand and the finest dust particles. This is how they travel across the oceans from the Sahara to the Caribbean Sea. The best sign of the end of winter is when the ice cracks and the frozen river comes to life. Poetic, but incredibly uncomfortable. Every spring, nature puts on a real show called Ice Breakup in the state of Illinois. The entire flow solemnly rafts down the river. Even when the ice cracks and melts, the thickness of the ice floes can still exceed 15 centimeters. Here you can see the dramatic split of the Perito Moreno Glacier in Argentina. One of the most inspiring sights by no means indicates that everything is fine in our climate. Either the Avalanche had everything carefully planned, or this car has a lucky number.
This is fine.
The avalanche is inexorably approaching, and we realize that the landscape was designed by nature specifically for it, and not for a picturesque view from the small house. The apocalypse can also strike in this way. We are observing the movement of an avalanche in the Alps. Its speed can reach more than 20 meters per second and carry a weight of hundreds of thousands of tons. Therefore, avalanche-prone areas are constantly under the observation of special organizations, such as the American Avalanche Association. I think if a volcanic eruption were predicted with the accuracy of a day, tickets to this show could be sold for a higher price. All the surrounding hotels turned into observation decks. What started with smoke ends with fire, as it should be. Some of the most majestic and powerful shows of the Earth are volcanic eruptions. Of course, it is better to observe them from a respectful distance.
flow on the street. This is the road to the Blue Lagoon. And the new lava will flow over the road. Look at that. And they rebuild it. They rebuild a new road. At the road to the Blue Lagoon.
And then comes the time to observe the ashes. The sight is shocking. Not ice, but lava can turn the area into a lifeless desert. The roads turned out to be blocked, and the lava is still smoking. It is so offensive that nature decided to spend this pile of potential asphalt not on building a highway, but on destroying it. You can endlessly observe the waves of the Atlantic Ocean crashing against the shores of Portugal. This stunningly beautiful place also bears the name Hell's Mouth. When a flood occurs in a Russian metropolis, this is not a reason to stop the movement of public transport.
Вообще похую.
Southern Spain is known for its aridity, but a random storm can turn the streets into raging rivers. The mountain rivers of Switzerland are known for their wild temperament during a flood, so their banks are reinforced with barriers of stone, in case the flow brings an uncontrollable pile of logs. The same anomaly occurred on a river in the famous Swiss Emmental Valley. The cause of the turbulent flow was a sudden change in the weather. At first, there was a long drought, and the soil of the riverbed dried up, and then heavy rains struck, and everything that the water was able to carry away from the bottom of the river, snags, logs, and branches, it decided to sweep away at one time. This is why living right by the river is dangerous. If there has been no flood for 100 years, this does not mean that it will not happen today. When a storm with hail passes and causes a flood, then summer turns into a hellish winter. The paths have to be cleared with a shovel again. This is one of those cases when you really will have to choose another route. Heavy rain in North Carolina completely washed away a section of the road 12 meters long. In a short time, more than 10 centimeters of precipitation fell, and local rivers began to overflow their banks. They started by flooding beaver dams, and then broke through a network of drainage pipes, which caused a chain reaction. And so, a harmless stream turned into a powerful flow that ate a part of the road like a piece of cake. Landslides are some of the most dangerous and unpredictable events in mountainous areas, when solid earth turns into uncontrollable viscous mud. The most terrible thing about landslides is the unknown. You never know when and where they will stop. The builders became eyewitnesses of a powerful mud flow. As a rule, work in an area with a complex landscape is associated with many risks. Usually in movies, creepy creatures appear from such places. Shall we wait some more? Hardangervidda is a mountain plateau in western Norway, the largest high mountain plateau in Europe. Its height reaches up to 1,600 meters above sea level. A national park with incredibly beautiful views is located here. But when the mountains become restless, a rock fall from the peak can turn into a real stone bombardment. Plants also demonstrate the power of Mother Earth, that case when nature quickly takes over abandoned things. Any empty place is filled with life. It is a mystery how this tree survived. It almost lost connection with its roots. And this hanging tree does not touch the ground at all. Apparently, it feeds spiritually. It is a heartbreaking sight to see how fire devours ancient and mighty olive trees from the inside. They were set on fire intentionally for the sake of the greater good, because the entire plantation of olive trees is threatened by bacteria nicknamed the olive grove killer. In Italy alone, millions of plants can die due to the infection. The strain spreads quickly through insects that carry the virus from one tree to another. If a tree is already infected, it must be destroyed along with neighboring groups. Catch fish, big and small, or many small ones. Oh, thank you. Number 9. Fish can end up on the shore for various reasons. For example, dolphins sometimes drive schools of fish into shallow water, and a strong current can suddenly throw an entire flock onto the shore with a wave. A stunning performance executed by humpback whales. But this is just a unique way of feeding. They create underwater nets from air bubbles, and these spirals rising to the top surround schools of fish, providing the whales with a lot of easy prey in one place. This way, they do not waste time assembling large portions. Besides, whales perform complex tasks excellently with a team approach. They are truly effective hunters. Abundant nutrition means survival for them, since their stomach is capable of holding from 500 to 600 kilograms of food. This amazing effect is provided not by a natural phenomenon, but by microorganisms. Thanks to the bioluminescent properties of plankton, we enter a fantastic world. The glowing sea takes your breath away, and the glow at the same time is alive. The size of the plankton is less than 5 millimeters, but these mini light bulbs light up brightly when something disturbs them, surf waves or a touch. Excellent psychotherapy, right? Well, and on this, that is all for today. Write in the comments the keyword rocket. This way, I will know that you watched to the very end. In touch is ETERNITYLAB, the laboratory of eternally relevant content.